This is for you, Broncos guru. You don't have a trailer, you can always just throw it in the back of the Envoy.
And somehow that Salt Life sticker fits just perfectly right where it's at. Welcome back, crew, to this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Now, as we saw by our last vehicle here, you don't have to have one of those big fancy fiberglass powerboats to be a boneheaded boater. That's right, all you have to do is find a way to get out there on the water and, well, make some boneheaded moves. But of course, having a nice fast powerboat doesn't really hurt the process, neither does having a nice fast jet ski. There's plenty of ways to find yourself on an episode of BHB, out there on a jet ski, or even just trying to launch the jet ski.
Oh yeah, this is gonna go real well. Oh, that didn't work.
Of course, when we're talking about nice, fast powerboats, it's hard to compete with those old sparkle rockets out there when we're looking for a boat that's going to get up on plane and run fast. But sometimes they can easily be slowed down in rough conditions. Now, I will admit one thing. I've been looking at some of these self-inflating life jackets, but I'm really second-guessing that after seeing this one. I wonder if you just get rained on or just a little bit of water, all of a sudden that thing's going to fill up, because he definitely didn't go all the way under. But let me know your thoughts or maybe your experiences on using one of these in the comments below. One of my greatest fears will be that I just forget I have it on and wind up jumping in the water. Speaking of jumping in the water with life jackets, I gotta understand this one. I'm not a white water guy, I've only ever been once, but why in the world would this crew vacate the boat to go down the rapids? I'm assuming it's got something to do with trying to keep the boat upright, and the people being on the sides are adding balance to it, but that just seems kind of counterproductive. Again, another thing you can let me know about in the comments. But it definitely seems like it could be a little dangerous as well, because when I think about rapidy areas of the river, I typically think of shallower sections of the river that have a lot of rocks underneath, and that's typically what causes the waves like this. But again, I'm not a white water guy, I could be wrong on that. Of course, who doesn't love being around the water or having dinner on the water? All you gotta do though is make sure you don't become dinner while you're enjoying your dinner by the water. I definitely don't think there's any way I'd be going back to these two vacant seats that are on the water side. So apparently this is a new thing in cruising. It's called the Horn Wars, where the vessels will honk their horn at each other to see who has the biggest and baddest horns, but apparently Disney's out there flexing on some of these other cruise lines right now. Now, apparently, if you go to one of Disney's private islands and there's multiple ships on the island at the time, they'll even have their own individual horn wars where the two vessels will go back and forth playing Disney songs with the horns. Kind of an interesting add-on experience to your cruise. But speaking of horns, too bad nobody on the beach had a horn to warn this guy. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing. I'm assuming he's having some sort of issue though, because somehow he went over the rocks we can see in the background, navigated through that, but is now heading directly toward the beach, about to land this thing right on the sand. Now, you never know, our guy just could be jealous of those Disney cruise lines we were talking about getting to go to their private island. And our guy said, you know what? I can't afford that Disney cruise, but I can afford to go out and get on my sailboat, enjoy the day, and then I'll just find my own private beach and create my own private island. Now, typically when we talk about boats on the hard, this is not really what we think about, even though it may come to mind, but more along the lines of something like this, where we'll see a vessel on the hard at a marina, typically on some sort of rack. But this is not the typical view of that. I'm assuming this is the budget version of putting your boat on the hard. Now, I guess if it works, it works. I don't want to say that I've seen worse because I don't know that I have, but I mean, it appears that it's getting the job done. But let me know in the comments, would you leave your boat sitting on the hard set up like this? Thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know when you might see your stories over here. Just like George Clout, Lance Duff, and Adam Coolidge did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.